I'm going with the one who truly loves me. That was all the note said. No explanation. No goodbye. No hesitation. Just 10 cold words sitting on our dining table beside the untouched Christmas dinner I spent 6 hours cooking. In that moment something inside me cracked. It felt like my whole marriage collapsed in one breath. Welcome to Amelia's Stories. Stay close because the stories you hear here aren't fantasies. They come from real people, real pain, and real betrayal. If you're new, share where you're listening from and make sure to follow along for more true life experiences. My name is Evan Merritt. I'm 38, a construction estimator from Oregon. And until that night I believed I had a normal, steady marriage. My wife, Lena, is 35, a nurse who recently started taking more late shifts. I thought she was just tired. I thought we were fine. Christmas night I came home early with one plan: surprise her with dinner, laugh a little, slow down, reconnect. Instead I walked into silence. No shoes by the door. No coat on the hook. No Lena. Only that note. At first I stood there confused, telling myself there had to be a misunderstanding. But when I tried calling her, the calls didn't go through. Then the messages failed. Then I realized she had blocked me. My hands were shaking when I opened our banking app, hoping for any hint of where she went. What I found instead froze me completely. She had emptied the entire account. Hours earlier. Evan didn't sleep that night. He sat on the edge of the couch, staring at the wall while the pieces of the last month slowly connected in his mind. Things he brushed off suddenly felt sharp and clear. Lena's new clothes she said were on sale. The faint perfume on her scrubs that wasn't hers. The way she pulled away when he tried to hug her. He realized he had been living beside a stranger and never noticed. By morning he finally called someone he trusted. Grant Harlow, his longtime coworker and the one person who always told him the truth. Grant listened quietly, then told him to breathe and look closely at anything that seemed off. Evan tried reaching out to Lena's best friend, Delia Rowan, hoping she'd know something. But Delia avoided his calls, sending only a short text: "I can't get involved." That message alone made his stomach twist. Trying to understand where Lena went, Evan opened their account again and checked recent charges. That's when he saw it: a hotel transaction under Lena's name. Then another. Then another. Every Thursday. For 3 months. His chest tightened. The hotel was minutes from her workplace. He needed to see it with his own eyes. Evan drove there, hands gripping the wheel, heart pounding so hard it felt like it echoed inside the car. He parked across the street, telling himself he was wrong, that there had to be a normal explanation. But then the doors opened. Lena walked out, laughing softly, with a man Evan had never seen before. Evan waited until Lena and the unknown man disappeared down the street before he forced himself to walk into the hotel. His voice shook as he spoke to the front desk, asking if Lena Merritt had been staying there. The clerk couldn't give much, but after a moment of hesitation he confirmed one detail. The man with her always checked in under the name Cole Ridley. That name stayed in Evan's head like a weight. Back in his truck he searched through public records and workplace directories until he found it. Cole Ridley, EMT, mid-30s. Single. Known for being friendly, charming, and having a reputation for flirting with nurses during long night shifts. The kind of man people joked about, the kind who slid into conversations easily. Exactly the kind of man Lena had been spending her Thursdays with. Feeling desperate for answers, Evan tried calling Delia again. This time she finally picked up. Her voice was tight, shaky. When Evan pressed her, she cracked. She admitted Lena and Cole had been close since summer, that people at work had noticed. And then she said something that hit him harder than the truth of the affair itself. Evan, Lena told everyone you were emotionally unavailable. That you weren't motivated. She made it sound like you didn't care about her anymore. Hearing that broke something in him. Lena hadn't just cheated, she'd rewritten their whole marriage to make herself look like the victim. Evan ended the call, sat in his truck and trembled as reality finally settled in. Driving home from the hotel, Evan's mind drifted back through the years, replaying memories he once held with pride. He remembered the long nights he worked extra hours just to help pay off Lena's student loans. He remembered turning down a promotion because the new schedule would clash with her nursing classes, and she said they needed to stay connected. He remembered sitting at the kitchen table helping her study, telling her she could do anything. Every sacrifice felt worth it back then. Now each one stung like a fresh bruise. When he finally walked through his front door, Grant called. His voice was steady, practical. He told Evan it was time to contact a lawyer. Not tomorrow. Not later. No. You need to protect yourself, Grant said. She's already made her move. Those words echoed in Evan's head as he checked their financial accounts again. That's when he saw it. Another transfer Lena made. A large sum moved quietly into an account he had never heard of, listed under her name alone. The betrayal wasn't an impulsive mistake. It was planned, organized, calculated. The realization made him think of a night months earlier. He had found Lena locked in the bathroom crying. When he asked what was wrong, she snapped at him saying she needed space. He walked away that night believing she was overwhelmed from work. But standing in the quiet of their home now, he understood the truth. She wasn't crying from guilt. She was crying because she had already decided to leave him. Evan walked into the law office feeling hollow, as if someone had scooped out everything inside him. Miriam Clark, the divorce attorney Grant recommended, greeted him with a calm, firm handshake. She didn't waste time. After hearing his story and reviewing the account records, her expression tightened. Evan, draining the joint account without your consent is a legal violation, she said. Especially right before filing for divorce. The word filing made him blink. She, already filed? Miriam nodded and slid a folder across the table. She submitted the paperwork the morning of Christmas. The note she left wasn't spontaneous. It was her final act after making sure everything was set up in her favor. Evan stared at the papers, his heart sinking deeper with every page. Under reason for dissolution, Lena had written emotional neglect. He kept reading, claims that he was controlling, distant, even verbally cruel. Words that didn't belong to him at all. It felt like being slapped by someone he once trusted with his entire life. Miriam watched his reaction, then spoke gently but firmly. I know this is hard to read, but you need to stay focused. These accusations can be used to influence financial decisions. He swallowed, fighting the burn in his chest. She planned everything, he whispered. She did, Miriam replied. And now you need to protect yourself. Start gathering evidence. Messages, bank records, anything that shows her spending and behavior. If she's willing to lie, she may also try to claim spousal support. Evan left the office knowing the fight had only just begun. Evan spent the rest of the day moving through the house like a ghost, opening drawers, checking shelves, searching for anything that could help him understand how deep the betrayal truly went. He started with the credit statements, scrolling through months of charges he once ignored. Restaurants he'd never been to, gas stations far from their home, purchases at stores Lena never mentioned. Then he opened her laptop. She had never logged out. His hands shook as he clicked through her emails and messages. What he found made his stomach twist. Messages between Lena and Cole went back nearly a year. 11 long months of secrets. They weren't just flirtatious. They were explicit, intimate, full of plans and promises. One message from Lena said, "After Christmas we can start fresh. No more hiding." Cole replied with heart emojis and talk of weekend trips. Evan felt a cold wave wash over him. He checked the banking statements again and matched dates with messages. There were charges for 2 airline tickets. She had taken vacations with Cole using their shared money. He found car repair payments for Cole's vehicle, gifts shipped to his address, and more hotel stays than he could count. Every discovery pushed out the sadness and replaced it with something steadier, colder, focused anger. Not rage, not yelling. Just a quiet, controlled clarity. He printed everything. The emails, texts, photos, the financial proof. Page after page he stacked them carefully. When he was done, he slipped them into a folder and wrote one word across the front. Truth. A few days later, Lena finally reached out. Her voice on the phone was sharp, defensive. "Evan, stop stalking me. You need to back off. Cole is the one who truly loves me, and you have no right to interfere." Her words were rehearsed, almost smug, like she already believed herself untouchable. Evan agreed to meet her, choosing a quiet cafe where neither would be interrupted. He arrived first, folder in hand, heart steady despite the storm inside. When Lena walked in, she carried that same rehearsed confidence. She smiled, smooth and practiced. "Evan," she said, "I deserve happiness. You held me back for too long. I'm finally free." He stayed calm, keeping his voice low. "Lena, I have to show you something." Slowly, he laid out the folder. Photos, credit card statements, hotel receipts. messages between her and Cole stretching back nearly a year. He watched as the smugness drained from her face. Her lips trembled, her eyes widened. For the first time she wasn't in control. "You really think this will all go unnoticed?" he said quietly. "You spent our money, lied to everyone, and you planned your escape for months." Before she could respond, the door opened. Cole walked in, casual at first, but he froze when he saw the tension in the room. Evan and Lena both turned, the air thick with confrontation. Cole's presence changed everything. Lena's rehearsed composure shattered completely, leaving only fear and the weight of what she had done. Cole's eyes flicked over the folder Evan placed on the table. At first he said nothing, just stared, tension rising in his shoulders. Then he leaned back and finally spoke, his voice tight. I didn't know she was still living with you. I thought she was free." Evan didn't respond. He watched as Cole's face shifted from surprise to disbelief and then anger. "She drained your savings?" Cole asked sharply, turning to Lena. "You told me he abandoned you. You told me he didn't care about you, that he left you with nothing." Lena opened her mouth, trying to explain, to twist the story into something sympathetic. "Cole, you don't understand, he never." Cole shook his head, cutting her off. "I don't do chaos, Lena. I don't get involved in lies and manipulation. I trusted you and you lied." His words were calm but final. He grabbed his coat and walked toward the door without another glance. Lena's face fell, and suddenly, all her bravado evaporated. She slumped into her chair, hands trembling as tears streaked down her cheeks. "Evan, please, don't ruin my life," she begged, her voice breaking. Evan watched her for a moment, the weight of betrayal heavy in the air. Her lies had destroyed more than just their marriage. They had cost her the only person who might have stood by her. But he stayed silent. He didn't speak. He didn't comfort. He simply let her realize the consequences of her actions. Evan sat at his desk, folder labeled Truth, open in front of him, breathing slowly. The anger that had burned inside him for weeks was now sharp, focused, and quiet. He didn't yell. He didn't lash out. Instead, he chose a calculated path. He met with Miriam Clark and filed for divorce, including every detail of Lena's betrayal. He demanded full reimbursement of the money she had siphoned from their joint accounts. Following Miriam's advice, he submitted the evidence to Lena's workplace. Messages, bank records, photos, everything she had tried to hide. The consequences were swift. Lena's employer launched an investigation into her conduct. Relationships with co-workers, improper use of funds, time she had spent on hotel stays. All came under scrutiny. Evan watched the news unfold quietly, feeling no joy, just relief that the truth finally had its weight. Grant helped Evan pack and move into a small, neat apartment nearby. It wasn't fancy, but it was his space. Safe, private, and free from lies. Meanwhile, Lena's carefully constructed world began to crumble. Cole blocked her, leaving her isolated. She was placed on administrative leave at work and forced to repay thousands of dollars she had taken. The control she thought she had over everyone vanished. Weeks later, his phone buzzed. A single text from her. "I made a mistake." Evan stared at it for a moment, then locked the screen and walked away. He didn't reply. He didn't need to. The folder labeled Truth had already spoken for him, and he was finally ready to live without her shadow. Months passed and Evan rebuilt his life piece by piece. He started therapy, something he had always postponed, and slowly developed routines that helped him feel grounded again. Mornings were quiet but purposeful, filled with coffee on the balcony and walks through the neighborhood. Evenings became time for reconnecting with his family. Calls to his parents, video chats with his sister, and visits with his nieces and nephews. Life felt fuller, slower, and calmer. One afternoon, while fixing a leaky faucet in the apartment building, he met Sierra Dalton, his neighbor. She was easy to talk to, kind without expectation. They shared small conversations about everyday life, and soon she became a friend. A steady presence, not a rebound or a distraction. He never felt the need to rush into anything, just appreciated the company and support. Evan began sharing pieces of his story, not for sympathy, not for revenge, but to find closure for himself. Writing, talking, and organizing his thoughts helped him release the weight Lena had placed on him for so long. Forgiveness wasn't in his mind. It wasn't necessary. Releasing the burden was. One afternoon at the grocery store, Evan noticed Lena across the aisle. She looked worn, stressed. a shadow of the confident woman who had left that note on Christmas night. He paused for a moment, then walked past her without a word. No glance, no anger, no lingering. For the first time in months he felt light. Free. Life, with all its quiet and ordinary moments, was finally his again.